What up, it's Brandon here and welcome back to the Tip Trick series, the series where I teach you a new trick. And this week I'm going to be revisiting the Royale. So what is the Royale? The Royale is like a front side, only your feet are tweaked. And by that I mean you're grinding on not just the H block, but you're grinding on the H block and the backside plate on your dominant foot. Because of this, the trick is a lot more stable than the front side once you've learned it, and it just looks a little bit better too, but that's just my opinion. Now the Royale is a great trick to learn and have in your vocabulary just because a lot of switch ups lead to it, and it's all around quite a safe trick. It's been my safe trick for the longest time. The trade-off there though is it can be quite difficult to learn from the start, but hopefully I can help you with that one. So the Royale was actually invented by a New Zealander, which is super cool, and his name is Brooke Howard Smith. Now if you want a better in-depth dive into this trick, I'm going to recommend checking out the Book of Grind's website page about this trick. There they have animations of how the trick looks, and you can look at it from a bunch of angles. It's really useful, so check that out. They'll be linked in the description. That being said though, now let's talk about my recommendations for learning this trick. So my first recommendation is that you have mastered the front side, and by that I mean you can do it both ways with your dominant foot in front and behind. That'll help you a lot with learning this trick. My second recommendation is that you learn this trick on ledge, just because I think it's a bit safer to fall on ledge than any other obstacle. My third recommendation is that you either skate freestyle or anti, just because this is a trick prone to wheel bite, so if you have to skip that, it'll make it a lot easier to learn. My fourth recommendation is that you loosen your skates a little bit. Now don't go too crazy here, because you could definitely break your ankle if you have your skates too loose, but you want to have them just loose enough so that you can put your sole plate to the ground without it hurting. And my final recommendation is that you be patient with this one, because this is a hard trick to learn. Some people will get it straight away, other people will really struggle to master it. I know I personally really struggled to learn this trick. It was a long time there where I thought I was never going to learn it, but then one day it just clicked. So you just got to hang in there, and hopefully I can help you get it a bit sooner. So now we've talked about our recommendations, let's move on to my step-by-step guide for how to do the Royale. So step one, what we're going to do is store this trick on the ground. If you have a nice crack in the concrete that's really flat, I recommend doing it there so that you can learn to line up the H block. For my reference clips, I was doing it on the carpet just because I forgot to film the clip when I was out skating, but you know, feel free to just do it any flat surface. What we're trying to do here is just really learn to balance in the Royale position and put weight on our sole plate on the side. So to choose which way you should tilt your feet, the way I would recommend is that you do it with your dominant foot in the back. And by that I mean your dominant foot is the one that's sliding in the backside plate. When you're doing this, remember to squat down. You want to bend your knees. Think about putting weight on your toes and keep your shoulders above your feet. You should be very stable just standing there. And yeah, we're just trying to learn the angle of having your sole plate touching the ground. If it does hurt or your skates are digging into you, try to squat down a little bit more. If it still hurts, you should loosen your skates a little bit. Not too much though, because like I said, you could break your ankle if you do it too much. Once you're feeling really confident and stable in there, try just jump into it on the ground. See if you can land straight on the sole plate and stuff. And then once you're feeling really confident with those, move on to the next step. So for step two, what we're going to do is step into the store. You want to step up with your dominant foot and place it in the backside plate and H block before stepping your whole body up. When your whole body's up, think the same. Keep your shoulders above your feet, keep your weight on your toes, keep your knees bent. But what you want to do here is really learn that point with your H block and backside plate balancing on the corner of the ledge. So really just keep stepping into it, really teach that foot what that angle is. Once you're confident that you've taught your foot this specific angle for the Royale, move on to the next step. So for step two, we're going to be jumping 2 foot into the Royale stall on the ledge. So before you start jumping at it, I want you to really prepare for this to slip out. It's much worse for you to slip backwards, that being towards your dominant foot, than it is for you to stick forwards when you're grinding. So try compensate that backwards slip out. Try think leaning into it more, leaning towards your non-dominant foot. But once again, the same tips as before. Your foot should be more confident in knowing that Royale angle now. So just jump into it and then keep your shoulders above your feet and your knees bent and your weight towards your toes. In terms of weight distribution, 65% of your weight should be on your dominant foot, so the foot that's in the backside plate, and the 35% should be on the other foot. So most of your weight is on your dominant foot. And once you're feeling really confident that you're landing in straight into the groove every time you try to stall this, and I don't mean landing front side then tweaking it in, I mean landing into your backside plate, then you can move on to the next step, which is step 4. So for step 4, we're going to try slide the Royale. So before we even try slide this, I'm going to recommend that you go do some nice slow front sides in the same way you'd be doing the Royale. So with your dominant foot behind if you're doing it my way. That way you can just get some confidence. You learn that your non-backslide foot will be able to save you if the other foot messes up. So we're in no rush here, so I want you to go nice and slow for this one. Now here's where slipping out becomes a real issue. When you're rolling up to this, just really think again about not wanting to slip out backwards towards your non-dominant foot. Counter that slip. It's much better for you to stick forward than it is to slip out backward. If you are sticking forward, it's pretty easy to save. What I do is you just want to do a quick 180 and roll backwards parallel with the ledge. But yeah, it's the same tips as before. When you jump up to it, you want to put weight on your toes, you want to bend your knees, and you want to have your shoulders above your feet. If you are sticking, don't lean back. I just want you to get lower, okay? Royale is definitely a trick that gets easier the more you do it. And I think that's because you'll make your own groove in your skate, and that groove will make the trick just a lot more solid. It will have like one place where it sits. So every time you get it, you're helping yourself get more consistent with it in more ways than just one. Now for coming out of this trick, there's two ways to do it, either coming out forward or backwards. Just do whatever one feels more natural. Just go with the flow with it. Now if you do accidentally slip out backwards, it's better to fall onto the ledge than onto the corner. So that's where I really want you to have your shoulders above your feet. And if it's slipping out, just collapse and lie on top of the ledge. Don't try grind the ledge on an angle, because that's when, if you do slip out, you're going to land on the corner and get much more hurt. Once you've got confident that you can slide these at a nice slow speed, you can move on to step 5. Now for step 5, we're just going to do the Royale on the whole obstacle. So I need you to come into this one with a lot of confidence. You're going to go with more speed, and you're going to try to slide the whole ledge. Now a tip for holding the whole ledge, works for every trick. Just look towards the end of the obstacle, and 9 times out of 10 you'll make it to the end. Once you've landed 3 of these in a row, you've officially learnt the Royale. Congratulations. Now just before we go, I've got some quick bonus tips. If you're trying to learn this on rail, you're going to have no problem with it sticking. So really think about compensating for that slipping out backwards, because you ain't going to get wheel bite. It's going to be much better to fall into a front side than to slip out. And if you're learning this on coping, remember to jump a little bit before the coping and really think about coming back into the ramp. Although it is safe to just go up, grind, and then roll on the top. But it's really easy to get stuck in a cycle where that's all you can do. So just remember to come back in the ramp. And that's it for this tutorial. I really hope you learnt the Royale. If you wanted a deeper look into the trick, once again, I recommend checking out the Book of Grinds. It's a really good non-profit website. Super useful tool for learning new tricks. So definitely check that out. It's linked in the description. Let me know what you want me to do a tip trick on next. I'm always listening for ideas. And subscribe if you want to catch any more tutorials. I'm trying to do them once a week. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Huge shout out to my patrons: Adam, Kevin, Deb, Dennis, Fabian, Floey, Mark, Matt, Mike, and Tage. And I'll see everyone on Monday. Peace out.